What's up, beautiful people? It's gonna be a great day. Let's get started with it. We are about to go hit a back and biceps session. I'm gonna eat some pre-workout. I'm a little weird, so usually this would be frozen or close to frozen. I prefer all foods cold. So this is like, I hope you can see it. This is 80 grams of cream of rice and then 20 grams of oats. I like that consistency. And then this is a whey drip. So you just take protein powder, mix it with a little bit of water, and then pour it over top. When I turned 20, I don't know what happened to me, but became lactose intolerant. So now I always have to take these anytime I eat this. Can make it a little bit better with some sugar-free maple syrup. All right, let me show you all this. Beauty. All right. I brought the 4K camera with me, so the footage will get a hell of a lot better in a second, but I didn't feel like whipping out that camera right now. Money every time. For some weird purpose, I am hungry at all times throughout the day, 24/7, except sometimes before I go to the gym. It is still so important that you eat a ton of carbs before you go. You want salt, quick digesting carbs, a little bit of protein, and almost no fats, so you can have like a crazy pump. And then obviously some caffeine will play a big effect in that as well, which reminds me. I feel like I used to promote supplements so much, but now I pretty much never do. Pump cover. And the reasoning behind that is because I don't want people to think that it plays a bigger part in your transformation than it actually does. Supplements make up like 2%, maybe, if you're taking the right ones. I didn't take any supplements for the first like 3 years that I lifted. And if I had to make an argument for the most impactful supplements right now, literally just creatine and pre-workout. And I would put pre-workout on top, because like the thing that took my workouts to the next level, being able to actually kill it in the gym, was just pre-workout. Okay, what am I missing? Keys. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm working with because you guys are probably confused. Look at this little thing. Look at me. Okay, it kind of does a little bit of a good job. Look at how good my filming setup looks now. So beautiful. Wait till I see it with the lights on my second YouTube channel. Drop that in there, even though nobody knows that I have a second YouTube channel. Oh, it's cold in Florida. Oh. What's up, bro? Beauty. I think like the cinematography of doing this first POV is actually really cool. I watched my video back. Side note, I saw all the comments on that video and you guys were all like, you looked depressed and tired. Fair. But yeah, the cinematography looks good. Why does it say that I have low battery? Damn it. Bright side, we brought the other camera, so we won't be needing this one for too long. Never been a car guy. Like, I know a lot of guys are car guys because they're kind of like big kid toys, right? Or something like that. I've always just been a music guy. So like I have a amp and a stub in my car. What are the odds this stays while I drive? That's fun. Alright, whatever. I haven't got to monetize either one of my last 2 videos because music in the gym and then music in my car. And so I either have to sacrifice vibes on the way to the gym or I have to sacrifice like $30. If I average 1 YouTube video per week, this channel nets me about $150 or just under, like between $110 and $150 per month on average. That's what I make off of the AdSense on YouTube. So clearly we're rolling in it. 100 bucks a month. I'm in a really good mood today. Let's hope that carries over into the gym. It will carry over into the gym.
Listen to this track, bitch. Like Tommy Lee and Pamela, I'm fucking on the camera, almost stamina the animals. Gucci is no amateur. Child, the damager can damage you a handler. 2 girls on my bike, 1 on the back, 1 on the handlebar. I better take a Polaroid, camouflage,
The other really shitty part about progressing with weight in the gym is whenever you don't feel like you're going to be strong that day, it feels like an insurmountable number that you have to accomplish. Like I just looked at what I hit on lat pull down my last time. I hit 250 for 8. 250 pounds for 8 reps. Are you fucking kidding me? Now to maintain, I have to hit 8 again. Holy shit. I'm not stopping the camera. This is all one take. I want y'all to see that, because I have to watch that footage back to make sure the form was still good. Because I'm pretty sure that was 9 reps. And look at the weight though. I mean, you can see that. That would be 250. Why is it not? Please stop blurring. 250. Money. Damn. Hell yeah. Why not, right? Why not me? Why not today? PR, baby. I swear, your mood in the gym matters so much. Like, I'm just feeling good. Like, I'm just happy. That's why it's so important to make fitness enjoyable. Like, if you enjoy the time, you're gonna want to stay consistent. Like, the times that I've always made the most progress is when I actually enjoyed being in gym. Straight up. And if you don't have a plan when you're in the gym, it's probably not gonna be enjoyable. Like, the more you track, the more ways you have to win the game. And the game is you're making progress. So if you track all of your progression, you have a game plan to make sure that you are going to progress at least at certain times when you do come into the gym, even if it's just by 1 rep on lat pullover or tricep push down. That is still a way to win the day. And it makes you feel a hell of a lot better. So you want to keep coming in here. I've actually noticed, especially with me being more of an advanced lifter, that I don't need to change my program until at least 6 weeks. Like, the plan that I come up with for myself, I only really change things if the progression starts to slow down. And then whenever you do start to notice a plateau coming up on the horizon, or maybe you're currently in one, all you need to do is make some changes. It goes back to my favorite quote of all time: nothing changes if nothing changes. And it's really simple, but it goes over everyone's heads. If you're doing the same thing with the same reps, same weights, same exercises every single session, guess what? Your results will be the same. You have to fundamentally make at least some some change to be able to see progression again. So that could be the order of execution of the exercises, that could be the individual exercises themselves, that could be the rep ranges, that could be the intensity. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but you have to make some change. And the worst case scenario is if you're not even tracking anything. You're just like, I think I feel a little bit stronger. I think I feel a little bit good, or I feel like I look a little bit different in this photo. You're never gonna win. You need data. Get some damn data, get some damn progress. That felt good. Also, the music is just absolute blasting in the gym today, so I hope you guys are gonna be able to hear me. My hand smells like my dog. I'm paying her too much. 250 for 9. That means the next time we come in here, I'm gonna get to bump it up. My rep range is supposed to be 5 to 8. Now, whenever you think that you're gonna be able to bump it up into the heavier weight, just go for it. Like, this is what I tell the guys that I work with all the time. You are never gonna hurt yourself by underestimating your strength. But you will, sorry, I fucked that up pretty bad. You will never hurt yourself by going for the heavier weight and missing the rep range slightly. But if you never go for it, you never progress. So if your rep range is 5 to 8 reps and you're just staying at 8 reps because you don't think you're gonna be able to get 5 at the next interval, whatever the weight is, I like to, by the way, side note, go up by 5 to 10 pounds in upper body movements and 15 to 20 pounds in lower body movements to make things really simplified. But if you never go for it, you're never gonna get it. And so I can promise you, like, the first time that I used the 135-pound dumbbells on 130-pound dumbbells on dumbbell incline bench press, I was just as scared shit as the first time I was using the 35-pound dumbbells. Like, that fear of you not knowing whether or not you're going to be able to actually progress is always going to be there. And the thing is like, you're always going to have a little bit of uncertainty, being like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to get it. The good news is the thing that does go away is your fear of failure, in the sense of like your protection of your body. So I don't ever get worried, oh man, I don't want to hurt myself by going heavier in weight. That's kind of like a beginner mentality issue that you might have. But as you reinforce the proof that you're able to progress without getting injured, you don't even think about that anymore. And also your form base is just so solid, you don't even think about it. Like when I go in and I do lat pull down, I don't ever think, man, I hope I did that. Like, you just know how to execute and you're only focusing on progressing. And that's when things become crystal clear, because the less thoughts that you have in your mind while you're working out, usually the easier it is to progress. If I'm thinking about, man, is my bar path actually going to hit the right angle and actually going to come down to my chin, or do I, pull it a little bit below? Can I feel it more in my right lat than my left lat? Like, if you're thinking about all these things, am I pushing through my feet? Am I matching my breathing with my tempo? If you're thinking about all these things while you're doing the lift, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to progress than just periodically saying one more in your mind. Let's go. Second set. Now, because of my carbohydrate intake, hopefully my set-by-set strength drop-off won't be as massive as I would hope it would. So if I can get 8 reps here, I will be very, very happy. Anything 7 or less would be like, shit, this is kind of bad. This is also why I take so much rest time. That's the one benefit of recording, is I take so much more rest time in between sets. I will say I use all of that rest time to just talk, which isn't fully resting. But I remember when I first came into the gym, I'll look at the people on the exercises waiting to use them and be like, man, why the hell are they taking more than 30 seconds rest? Are they out of shape? No, they're actually smarter than you. And they understand how to train properly to failure with the right intensity. And they understand that if you want to progress, you have to make sure that your sets 2 and sets 3 are relative to what you can actually progress with. And if you're shooting yourself in the foot because your muscular or cardiovascular endurance is the thing that's actually being your limiting factor, then guess what? Your progress is just going to be slower. You really can't hurt yourself by resting too much unless you're that guy bringing an air mattress to the room and like setting it up to do your 3-rep max and then wait for 30 minutes. Like, even in between that last set, I think I can check, but it's been over like 3 minutes and I'm still not going to go yet. I'm going to wait till I feel 100% and I'm going to hit it. And you might be like, yeah, that's kind of inefficient from a time perspective, but it's not from a progress perspective. And then if you're the person that has to be in and out within 45 minutes, then just do lower volume, higher intensity, and less exercises. That's what lower volume means, sir. And less sets. It's so loud in the gym. I hope you guys can hear it. You know what I also noticed is when I talk normally, this is how my voice is. And this isn't me dropping my voice. This is me dropping my voice. Obviously, I'm not doing that, but this is how I talk like a normal person. But then sometimes when I get excited or I have my noise cancellation turned on, I notice that I start to talk a little bit higher, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm super excited, but that's not my normal voice. So then I watch myself back, and I'm like, why do I sound like such a little? Dude. These are so brutal. I'm gonna need all the rest of them. I only want to do 2 sets here. Someone's upset. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a response. actually so weird how my left lat is so much stronger than my right one. It makes no sense. It is so insanely loud in here that I'm worried about even just talking anymore because I don't think you guys are able to hear me. Hopefully you can. One thing that happened to me recently, this has been happening, it used to happen a lot more than it's been happening recently because I don't have that many people around me. These are not fun. Your forearms burning like crazy. All right. Damn, it was so loud in there. I couldn't even hear myself think. I know you guys aren't going to have any way of being able to tell, but it was ridiculous. There were a couple things that I wanted to talk about that I didn't even get to go through. So this is just some of the stuff that I've been thinking about today. So I've been having this happen less and less because as you grow, naturally you lose more people. And my parents always told me this when I was younger, that like you should cherish your youth because as you grow, people just grow apart and you'll have less and less friends as you get older. And it got to the point where it's crazy because I remember that my parents' friends were literally only friends with them, were the only friends in their lives because they were my friends' parents. Like that's the point it got to, besides obviously their significant other. I've been having to have harder conversations than I thought that I would in that happening. Like I feel like people grow apart from a couple different circumstances, location, lack of time from whatever job. But I never thought that goals would be like the main thing separating me from a lot of people. Because I've had to have less of these conversations, but every once in a while, I have to sit down with somebody, and not literally sit down, but, you know, have like a more proper talk and be like, dude, me and you, we're good, but the baggage that comes with you, I can't handle that. Now, when I say baggage, usually I mean people, because I don't care what anybody else says. I will 100% judge you for who you hang out with. If your friends are losers, I do not want you to be my friend. Straight up. My question of judgment is, would I want this person to be my son or my daughter's best friend? And if the answer isn't yes, then I don't need them in my life, or I don't want them in my life. Of course, whenever I say like stuff like this, there's always going to be somebody in that comment section or somebody that DMs me that's like, well, you know, my sister is struggling with addiction, and you know, how I'm not just going to drop off my sister. Of course, there's specific case circumstances that kind of negate this line of thinking. But for the vast majority of it, if your friends fucking suck, or if you have people that you hang around with, that baggage, I can't deal with that, because you will think differently than I can. And me and you, we're good. Like I've had that convo where it's like, yo, me and you are good, but you can't sit at my table. And my table is fucking tiny. It's not even exclusive. I mean, it's exclusive because nobody gets in. And that's not me being like superiority complex, like, oh, who gets to sit at my table? It's just me having these standards for myself, where it's like, I'd rather sit alone than deal with drama. Because like, even in the slightest, if you have somebody that's just like dragging you down and I have to hear about it all the time, I'm like, why are you associating yourself with this person? Like on paper, it's such an obvious decision for me because there's no emotion attached to it. I think logically. And so like, if you have a friend that fucking sucks and you tell me that they fucking suck, it's going to be really easy for me to be like, wow, they fucking suck. Stop hanging around them. But you know that there's so much more. It goes so much deeper than that. You might have this relationship that might be toxic. There's good times and bad times. It's the same thing like with alcoholics. When they try to overcome their addiction, a lot of the times people relapse. And the reasoning behind it is your brain chemistry is wired to let go of trauma or the negative and remember only the good. So you don't remember yourself literally puking your brains out at 3 a.m., but you do remember the conversations leading up until that point while you were drinking. And it's why you want to go back out again. So even though you tell yourself in the moment of, oh, I'm never going to drink again, a week later, you're out at the bars. It's the same thing with like friendships and the people. And it can go even farther than that, just by your ambitions. Like if you have absolutely nothing going for you, that's actually okay. I want to pivot. It's okay if you want to have things actually going for you. But if you have no direction whatsoever and you don't have any ambition for direction, you're not trying to find that direction, that I can't tolerate. Because like then it just becomes a cycle of complaining. And the people that I've always realized are the most negative are usually the people that have nothing better to do. You got nothing but drama. That's your full-time job. It's like why there was so much fucking drama in high school and college. Like everybody was fucking around and bored. Like I've noticed that people who are incredibly either ambitious, busy, working, or have this core set of values for themselves that takes time away from their day-to-day life, like you don't deal with as much shit. Does that make sense? You just don't deal with as much shit. And I can't stand shit. I can't stand when somebody drops drama on my plate. Because I'm a really straight shooter. So like if I say we're good, we're good. There's no underlying, I'm going to go on my private story and say fuck you. You know what I mean? Like there's none of that. But some people still operate from that perspective because they're just bored. Like every single time I've had an issue with a relationship or a friendship, it's usually from somebody who doesn't have enough to do. Because people who have shit going on don't cause problems. They don't need any more decision fatigue or drama in their life. So I will judge you for who you hang out with. Plain and simple. And I know there's a specific case scenarios, but just overarching idea, I will judge you. So be really, really careful of who you hang out with. I had so many thoughts on what I wanted to talk about, but usually I can get through them through the workout, but I'm just absolutely drained. Let's see. One thing that's been helping me out more than anything recently is realizing whose permission am I seeking? This is the next thing that I want to talk about. A lot of the times before I take a risk, I have to ask myself now moving forward, whose permission am I seeking to take this risk? Because if I didn't need permission, I would just take the risks all damn day long, assuming that they were, had potential payoff. But for some reason, I find myself halted in really, really smart moves, like things that sound logical on paper, but I'm emotionally attached to letting go of whatever it is just because of the permission I'm seeking, whether it's inwards or from someone else. And so, like, I think I've talked about this before, but fear only lives in the vague and not in the specific. And I will say for most people, if you get really specific about what you're afraid of, that acknowledgement, even if it makes you almost loathe yourself in a sense, just acknowledging what you're afraid of or whose permission you're seeking gives you the power back. Like, I dropped out of college and it was the best decision I ever made. My clients are getting more attention. The amount of testimonials I've gotten since I dropped out has skyrocketed. My business is much more successful. I feel like I'm happier. I feel like my focus is there. My body is there. I'm making better decisions in the day-to-day. And more than anything, I'm just fucking sleeping at night, not hating myself for not making the decision that I knew I should have done. And so when I thought about it, because I knew that I should have dropped out for 2 fucking years, and 2 fucking years I didn't drop out every single day. And I'm very risk adverse. That's something that's about me as a person. I think it's actually a wise thing to be risk adverse. You don't want to take a lot of risk. You want to be very comfortable. And I think comfort is probably the number one addiction as human beings. You want comfort. That's why so many people are willing to throw away their goals. But if they get their weekends off, sounds good. Because that's comfortable. Anyways, that's a completely separate rant on the side. I'm not even going to touch into that because there's no shame in that whatsoever. It's just I probably shouldn't have even said that. Spiraling a little in my head. Give me 1 second. Risk adverse. I'm a very risk adverse person. Before I dropped out of school, I needed to be set financially. I needed to be like, I have to have X amount of dollars in the bank for me to be able to drop out. And then I hit that amount and I was still like, I don't want to do it. I got mom and I got my grandparents who are helping me out with rent and with school. And if I have to go back to school, I'm going to have to pay for it. But on paper, when I weighed out the pros and cons of staying in school, there was a plethora of cons and 1 or 2 pros. And the pros were going to be good backup plan and approval of others. Those were the 2 pros. That's literally it. Cons, wasting time, opportunity cost. I'm losing money. My clients aren't getting as much focus as they deserve. I'm not as happy. I'm not getting as much sleep. I wake up regretting the decision that I'm making to stay and show up. And the thing that finally pushed me over the edge was realizing that if I got my college degree, if I had graduated literally the next day, and I only had a couple months left, and if I graduated the next day, let's say the couple months got compressed into one singular day, if I had spent that day and walked across that stage and got my certificate, I would have never forgave myself. Because a lot of people think, well, you're going to regret not getting the degree, but I think the opposite. I would have regretted not having the balls to do what was truly right in my heart, knowing that I should have made this decision. And that I wasn't making the decision. And you know why I wasn't making the decision? Because I fucking cared what my mom thought about me. Like, that's literally it. My dad didn't care. My sister, we don't even really talk. Me, I knew I should have made this decision a long time ago. I had past relationships telling me, why the fuck are you in school? All you want to do is fitness. Why are you in school? Like, all you love and all you talk about, you're obsessed with it, is making content and talking about fitness. So why the fuck are you getting a degree? A backup plan? For what? Your backup plan is go work at Crunch Fitness, Like, you don't need a degree for that. And so, on paper, it made so much sense. I was just burning time, burning money, burning fucking energy, and I still couldn't pull the fucking trigger. Like, I couldn't pull that lever. I was like, God, but what's mom gonna think? And I didn't realize that. But then I finally realized this, which is, would I rather take that bet and go all in on myself? Or would I want my mom's opinion of me to be the thing that means that I never get to go for my true potential, the thing that I know is truly right? She would be the limiting factor. And it's not her fault. I'm not putting any of this on her. I need to be my own man, being able to make the decisions that I need to. Once you're above 18, you're a fucking adult. Like, you need to make the decision. It's your fucking life. I don't care if your parents raised you the entire time. I don't care if they embedded all this wisdom in you and how you should, your set of values as a man. You are your own man. Make your fucking decision, buddy. Jesus. And then I realized, like, I would probably resent my mom
and myself for the rest of my life if I never did what I knew was right. Forever. I would regret that. And on paper, it makes so much sense. And then the coolest part is, like, once I made that fucking flip, within 60 days, my life changed entirely. It got better in every possible way imaginable. I can't go into the depth of everything, but it just got so much better. And I could not be more thankful. And I just wonder what it would have been like if I had made this decision sooner. If I had just taken that risk. And I'm incredibly risk adverse. But the thing that allowed me to become free of what I knew was right was literally just getting specific, which is why I say fear lives in the vague and not in the specific. So when I play it out, right, let's play out worst case scenario. Let's get really specific about what's going to happen. If I drop out, my dad and my sister support me. I have friends that I could bum their couches. I could bum on their couches. I don't need, somebody supporting me for my rent. I have enough money saved up for a couple months of food and water. I could go chase my dreams in the meantime. I'm going to get better sleep. Like, let's play this scenario out. So what's the worst thing that happens? Well, if I do want to go back to school, grandparents are not gonna help pay for it, and you're gonna have to pay for all of it. I don't want to go back to school, so that shouldn't even be a thing. And then number two, mom's gonna be disappointed. I care more that my mom would be disappointed in me than me chasing my own goals. It's my life. I'm gonna let her control my life? You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's insane. And some of you guys live your lives to other people's standards. But remember, the average American is broke, overweight, single, or divorced. Look at the results that look at the results from the people that you're listening to. The majority of people suck. Straight up. That's pessimistic, Dirk. I don't care. It's true. So I'm speaking to the people that want more for themselves. That's the thing. Like, I don't want the person who's happy living their life, that's got the white picket fence, the 2 dogs, the 2 kids, the loving wife, the loving husband, whatever it is. You got the stable job, you've got, a couple, you've got your weekends with the boys, you got the beers in the bars, you've got the vacation to Hawaii every other summer. If that's you, fuck yeah, you won. Your life is your life. If that's what you want, you fucking won. And I'm not gonna lie, someday I'm really gonna want something like that. But not now. And so why would I take the advice of the people that have that? And even worse, most people don't even have that. Most people are by themselves. Most people are unhappy. And I'd rather be unhappy going after what I love than be unhappy fulfilling somebody else's wish of what my life should be. Whose permission am I seeking? Like, seriously, just if you ask yourself that question, sometimes it'll even be yours. Like, can I give myself permission to do this? And that has helped me tremendously. Being like, wow, I'm my own limiting factor. It's not just my mom. And for you, maybe it's your fucking uncle, or maybe it's that one cousin you see at Thanksgiving that's going to ask you how you're doing, and then you're like, oh, I'm afraid to have that conversation of, I kind of am doing this thing, I'm not getting paid for it yet, but I think if I work hard enough, I'm going to make it happen, and they laugh at you, and you're afraid of that one specific conversation on that one holiday with that one person. You're so afraid of that, but you're not going for your thing because of that? Fuck that. Just don't go to Thanksgiving. Or fuck them, show up to Thanksgiving, do the thing right now, whatever you're considering, and be a success story. And if you're not successful then at least you're doing what makes you happy. Whose permission am I seeking? Get really specific about that. For the longest time, especially after I dropped out, I got really, really into like the mentality aspect of what do winners do to win? Like, how the fuck does Kobe Bryant be Kobe Bryant? How did Michael Phelps win all those Olympic medals? How is Elon Musk? I don't care about politics. Say what you want about him. He is the richest man alive. How did he make that happen? That's an incredible feat, right? Like, I'm just looking at stats on paper. How do the best of the best become the best of the best? Like, what separates them? And for the longest time, I was like, okay, I need to somehow inherit these traits that these people have, but in reality, it's what they don't have, which is an off button. It really is. It's an off button. And that's a blessing and a curse. I want to preface what I'm about to say with model the rise and not the current, because to get to the current of what I do right now and how I think right now, I think a lot differently right now than I did to get to this point. And so I was incredibly hungry, and I still am, but I was also willing to sacrifice every minute of every day to get to this point.
Now I'm flipping gears a little bit. I'm okay taking a little bit more of a, leeway off the pedal to pursue things that genuinely make me happy so that I don't burn out. But when I was in the rise and I was like, man, I got to make my business work. I got to make this content thing work. I got to, prove people wrong and drop out and go all in on my shit. I thought very differently. I was like, I have to do whatever it fucking takes. And I didn't have that off button. And it's a blessing because then you're all in and you actually make it fucking happen. Like when you don't have an off button, it's literally all that you think about. You give yourself two choices, do the thing or do nothing else. Doing the thing becomes incredibly attractive. It becomes where you get all of your dopamine fun and you want to do it all fucking day. And it's really easy. There is no off button. And that looks different depending on what your goal is. If you're an athlete, it's obviously training and recovering. If you're a businessman, it's obviously doing the skill set or learning the skill set that's going to make you more money and doing deals. If, you're the bodybuilder, it's showing up to the gym and eating your meals properly. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but you have to be obsessed with the thing. And so now the curse of that, removing that off button, is now I have to learn to turn my brain off at night. And I think that's a big reason why I've just been showing up so shitty in these videos lately, because I've just been so upset because I've been willing to sacrifice for so long, but it's taken that toll on my health where I'm at that point where like it's not as enjoyable as it used to be. And today was the first lift in a long fucking time that I enjoyed myself. And I'm reflecting on this because I'm like, man, that was a great fucking time. That I want to go back in there. I want to do this again. And that usually doesn't happen. But it's 1:30. I got to the gym later than I usually do. And I'm not going to do that much work later today. I'm of course going to do some stuff because I like doing it, but I'm not putting myself all this pressure on myself to make that shit happen. I want to go over one last situation that happened to me recently. So I know two people in my life at different times have come to me and have told me that they have cheated on their significant other. I'm going to keep these relatively vague, of course, because I'm not going to, name drop people or anything like that. And it's, whenever you come to somebody and you talk to them about something that's very private, you don't want to air that online, but it did give me a new perspective that I think might help others as well. So I want to share that. I work as a coach, and I truly believe that physical, mental, they both coincide to be able to make progress on either facet. You need to have both dialed in. If one is missing, the other one's not going to progress nearly as fast. And so this person comes to me and he said, Dirk, I haven't been sleeping for the past couple months because I've done a horrible thing. I cheated on my significant other. I feel horrible about it. I've just been putting my head against the wall. There's this toxic situation. I'm worried that they're going to spread lies about me publicly. I don't know what's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. I need you to help me decipher, am I a good person? That's basically what they were saying. And so I listened to them. What I had them do actually, and this is a great strategy if you're trying to overcome something or you're trying to kind of close that loop, speaking from somebody who has OCD and struggles to close the loop because he has intrusive thoughts literally all day, every day, is get everything down on paper, because then it doesn't have to be solely in your mind. And a big thing about time passing is you also forget things that happen. Your brain, your body's main function as a human, it's to maintain homeostasis. And so if something is really throwing you off, even just psychologically, it's trying to dump some of that out. And so when you go and you think about some of the details in the past, you're going to misinterpret or forget some of those things. And you don't want that to happen, because then it becomes even harder to spiral, because you're like, oh my God, what about this? I didn't even think about that. But really you did, and you just forgot. Get it down on a piece of paper. This helps me out so much. And you write down as much as possible. This is what I had that person do. I was like, write down as much as possible, write down the details, write down the people involved, write down how you feel, write down what transpired and how what the current situation is. Write down apparent options, and if there are none, write that down too. Like, put it all down. Get the data just logged. Almost like it's a training program. Literally just put it on paper so you can see it. And so I had them write this down, and it gave them a lot of clarity, just being able to give this almost like weight off your shoulders, like, whew, it doesn't have to all be in my mind anymore. And so, long story short, this person did a bad thing. And I am no advocate for cheating. The exact opposite of that. I have never cheated on anybody in my life. And I think that cheating is probably one of the worst things that you can do. However, good people do bad things all the time, and vice versa. Bad people do good shit. And the most important thing is that you learn from your situation. If you can acknowledge it and move on, you don't need to prolong your suffering. Only if you learn. The learning is the key factor. And so I've had two people come to me and tell me that they've cheated on their significant other, right? Very different people. One person was actually like a year ago, slipped it into a convo. Oh, I've cheated on a couple people before. And I was like, wait, whoa. And they just kept talking like it wasn't even something to, they kind of brushed over it. That's a bad person because there was no remorse. There was no resentment. This person came to me the other day and was like, I want to, do horrible things because I can't live with myself. That is guilt. There's a difference between guilt and shame. And the difference kind of shows you who the type of person is. Shame is when you break somebody else's rules set on your life. Everybody's playing a game, the game of life, right? And everybody has rules to their game. The rules are different across players, but everybody has rules. And so shame is when you break somebody else's rules. Oh, you shouldn't cheat on people. Guilt is when you break your own rules. I should never cheat on anyone. And so you might feel shame, but not guilt if you cheat on someone. But if you feel really guilty, that means you're breaking your own rules. And I think that means you're a pretty good person, assuming that you learn and you don't do it again. So this person felt horrible. And so I basically told them that I thought that they were a good person who did a horrible thing. And good people do bad things all the time. And the thing is you do have to move on. Because once you learn, the prolonged suffering is completely up to you. That is optional. Suffering is optional. Like, it will happen, but it's optional to the degree. Like, you're going to suffer no matter what. But the type of suffering is person dependent. So it's a good thing that you feel like you fucked up. You did fuck up. But it is also on you to move on. And so what I like to do in times like these is I like to write myself an anchor statement, because I'm somebody who's dealt with a lot of trauma in relationships, friendships, growing up with my family, business settings. Like, I had this whole thing blow up in my face and I received thousands of comments of hate. Like, so much. I've dealt with so much shit. And anchor statements are probably the thing that helps me out the most. So if you're somebody who's dealing with a lot of guilt, and everybody has at some point, even if you're the fucking Buddha, you've done something that you regret. And it's on you to move past it. Because just because you regret something and you did something horrible, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. So here's an anchor statement. Remind yourself that you were acting on the intellect you had at the time. I almost didn't go to college. When I was a junior, I was hanging out with my friend that was a girl. Her name was Leah. I was like, are you going to the thing later? It might have been a party or whatever. And she was like, no, I need to finish my college apps. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about, college apps? And she was like, applications. Aren't you going to college, Dirk? And I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to college. When do we have to do college applications? Keep in mind, this was during COVID, so I was at home and doing school through my laptop 3 hours a day. So stupid. Also helped my grades, though. Shout out ChatGPT. Oh, shit, this happens every time. My thing overheated, so we're going to finish this here. Excuse me. Where was I? Dirk, aren't you going to go to school or college? Yeah, I just didn't know that I had to do those. When are those things due? And she was like, pretty fucking soon. I didn't even think that you had to apply as a junior. I thought that was like a senior thing. And now I could beat myself up for that. Of course I did apply, obviously went to college and all of that, and then I dropped out. But anyways, I remember beating myself up a lot for that. Just being like, God, how can you be so fucking stupid? How did everybody else get the memo? The school system can't fail you. Your parents can't fail you. Like, how did you not know? But the thing is you don't know what you don't know. I was acting on the intellect I had at the time. I never found out when was the time to apply for college. So I'm so glad this girl slipped it into this convo while she was helping me out with my homework at my house. Like, thank God that happened. I was acting on my intellect that I had at the time. And when you cheat on somebody or you do something that you feel guilty about, you have to remember you're acting on the intellect that you had at the time. You are learning from these moments. And even if what you did was horrible, you are acting on that intellect. You were fucking stupid. Layman's terms, you were stupid. And you fucked up. But are you going to be intelligent enough to learn and take one or two big picture takeaways from that moment so that you can grow and make sure that it never happens again, and you never ever put another girl or guy through that situation? You know? I'm really passionate about this because I got cheated on. This was the whole reason that I started my fitness journey. I was like, man, I just look so fucking shitty. Of course they wouldn't want to be in my life anymore. Of course. Now, me and you both know that that's not how that actually works. And whether or not you have a six-pack or not is not going to be the only thing that determines whether or not somebody is going to cheat on you.
I didn't know that when I started. I'm starting to get sidetracked. Anyways, I told this person you need an anchor statement. You were acting on the intellect that you had at the time. Good people do bad things. Learn from it. As much as it was on me that I made this horrible thing happen, it's also on me to move on. And so that's kind of like my anchor statement that I always use. It's what I can remind myself of, because even if you do something absolutely atrocious, it is also on you to get yourself out of that period. And I don't care what anybody says. In the same sense of, if you and a girl, or you and a guy, your relationship you guys break up, and then, 2 weeks later, the person that you supposedly loved is with somebody else, you can't get mad at them for the delta. You can't get mad at them for the time in between. I think I used delta wrong there. Disregard that. But so many people use time as their judging factor. They're like, oh my gosh, don't you think that's horrible? That, they moved on within 2 weeks, within 2 months, within 2 years? Like, I'm still hung up on them. Like, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. You are prolonging your suffering. Good for them. They are smarter than you. They were able to take the 1 or 2 big picture takeaways from that relationship and apply it to no longer prolonging their suffering, because it's on you to move on. Now, of course, that's easier said than done, Dirk. I know that. I struggled with it for fucking ever. I was relationship hopping after I got cheated on. It was horrible. But I'm also never going to resent somebody for moving on faster. They're smarter than you. Like, it's a good thing. Like, so many people use time as their marker for experience and for giving and for moving on from suffering. But time is a horrible way to judge anything. That's like saying, how strong are you based off of how much time you spent in the gym? That's not how that works. You could go to the gym for 6 hours a day and never look as good as you want, because you don't do the right things, because you don't have the right skill set or the right values or the big picture takeaways to actually make progress. In the same sense of, like, if you told me, Dirk, you're only 23 years old, I'm not going to work with you as my coach. I'm going to work with the guy who's 60 years old, but he doesn't have that many transformations. He doesn't have that many testimonials. He hasn't transformed as many lives as you, but he has been doing it for 40 years. But what does it say about the person who's been doing it for 40 years? That fucking sucks. I'd way rather measure my experience and results than not time spent doing X. Time spent is a horrible way to measure things. So stupid. It's like, I don't want to make this decision because I think in a little bit of time I might be, in a better spot. Fuck that. No, you won't. Things are always going to come up. If you're ever using time as your judgment for getting better, it hasn't been long enough. I can't move on. Why? Why can't you move on? I agree that time does heal, but you can start the healing process whenever you like. You don't have to wait 2 months and be like, I'm still recovering, or I'm going to start fixing myself now. Start the minute after you break up. Damn, this sucks. What can I learn from this to make sure that this never happens again? And guess what? You're better off now. You truly are. If you learned. That's the caveat. If you learned, you're better off. So anyways, good people do bad things. If you've done a bad thing, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. But if you never learn from those things that you did, then you are. You need to be willing to take action. And to learn, fundamentally, you need to acknowledge, and then you need to put into action. That's how learning happens. I could tell you 8 different ways to fix your sleep right now in this video. I could tell you to start taking magnesium. I could tell you to fix your environment so that it's darker and cooler, so that it's a little bit quieter. I could tell you, okay, you need to do no high stimulus activities right before you go to bed. I could just start rifling off a bunch of tips, but if you never actually do any of them, you didn't learn, you didn't educate yourself, you entertained yourself. If you never change anything fundamentally, nothing changes. Like, straight up. Acknowledge and take action. And the best part now is you can no longer claim ignorance. Like, if you didn't know how to fix your sleep, then if your sleep sucks, fuck, that sucks. You can claim ignorance. Now that you know that you can do these 3 things, every night that you're not doing those 3 things, what you're not changing, you're choosing. So now you are the person that's actively choosing to have bad sleep, because you know what to do. You're just not doing it. And you know to move on. And I know that it's harder than, I know it's a lot harder. And you probably don't hear this that much. Like, now that I'm reflecting and saying this out loud, like, not many people talk about the other side. Because I got cheated on, right? Why are you being an advocate for the people that cheat on other people? They're horrible people. They're not horrible people.
They just made horrible choices. Whether or not how they feel about those choices and what they do as a result of those choices moving forward determines how good of people they are. Plus, if you're the person that got cheated on like I am, which is why I'm pretty passionate about talking about this, like, you're giving them so much fucking power over your life. In the same sense of, I was talking about earlier, like, whose permission are you seeking? You're also still seeking their approval. Like, fucking forgive, forget, move on. Because if you don't, you're stuck. And then they forever have this power over you. They forever have this little piece in your mind, this little bit of rent that's like, hey, by the way, this person that you're gonna, be with is probably gonna cheat on you again. Do you really want that baggage? No. Remove that power. Anyways. This was an awesome workout. I appreciate y'all as always. I'm gonna get a little bit of a thumbnail. Let me see if we got one. Hopefully that was good. I don't know. And I will see y'all in the next one. I appreciate y'all as always. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. Simple as that. Make a change.